Alright guys, so this is my second main tank video. So as I said last time, if there's anything I could do to make it better or just more enjoyable to watch, just let me know. And also, English is not my first language, so don't go in the comment section to tell me to speak proper English. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and more importantly, I hope you guys find it helpful. So I will do the same thing that I did with my Reinhardt video. I will cover every ability and give a bunch of tips for every single one. Most likely tips that are not covered by other YouTubers, and I don't know why. Because the only thing that differentiates a GM main tank from a gold main tank are the little things that you could do with your ability, being able to utilize them at their maximum potential, which is what I will show you. So the first thing you need to know is how to position your shield correctly, getting the most potential out of it. Orisa's shield has a particular form that allows you to cover multiple sides at the same time, so that's what you want to do. You don't want to drop a barrier into the wall like that, otherwise you won't have no room to play around your barrier at all. So if they come on the left side or the right side, you'll get killed. So you want to put your barrier in an angle like that, so it covers from both walls. You have this whole left side to shoot at and keep backing up and still being covered. And if they decide to come on the right side, you do the same thing. Your barrier goes from the right wall to the left wall, so you can keep backing up. As you can see right there, the barrier goes from the right wall right there to the left wall. So that's the same thing. If you drop your barrier right in front of you like that, you only cover the front. Compared to if you drop it in an angle, you can play closer to your barrier and still be covered from the right side at the same time. The next tip is mainly used either at the start of the round or between two fights. So your barrier's uptime is 20 seconds, but it only starts once the barrier is deployed. So you put a barrier down, and then when your next one is ready, 8 seconds after the first one, you throw your next one straight up into the air. So the cooldown will already be started like that, but the barrier will drop when there will only be 3 seconds left to the cooldown. But the 20 seconds uptime will just be started because it has not been deployed yet. So if they manage to break your shield super fast, you won't have to wait 8 seconds to get your next barrier ready. The next thing is called the shield dance. It can be done with Orisa's shield, Symmetra's barrier, or Winston's bubble. It is, in my opinion, the most important thing you should know about Orisa. It can allow you to win a 1v1 against almost every character in the game. As you can see, I dropped down to 15 health, and there's a diva right in my face trying to kill me. As soon as she gets into the bubble, I get out. Once she gets out, I get back in. And that's the shield dance. That's what you want to do to avoid a lot of damage. I did that against that Reaper during like 20 seconds. Also, I'm a main tank player, so my aim is really trash, don't judge it.
You ain't gonna kill me! Okay, maybe you will, maybe you will. She'll dance, bitch!
There are two ways to block a Shatter with Orisa. One of them is with a barrier, but you have to be ready for it because you only have one chance. So if you already have a barrier down and Reinhardt has his Shatter, he's usually gonna try to cross the barrier, then shatter you. So as soon as he's about to cross it, you drop a new barrier right in front of you to block his Shatter. Blocked it. I got a charge.
Ryan's on the left, Ryan has Shatter.
He's looking for a Shatter.
Blocked it.
Something you want to do in the Orisa battle is, let's say the enemy Orisa just dropped a barrier and you are pretty close to it. You want to walk forward and throw your barrier through hers. So that way you will be protected and their team will not.
Chris on the left.
Yo, you guys push up.
Push up.
You guys probably heard about the EMP Shatter or EMP Diva Bomb combo. That combo is very powerful and there's almost nothing you can do about it.
Fucking shit!
The only character that can deny that is Orisa, and the reason for that is because as long as your barrier is in the air, it cannot get destroyed by the EMP. So you basically have to make a big read on it and predict when she's about to use it. You throw your barrier right before it hits you. Since your barrier is in the air, it cannot get destroyed. So it will deploy on the ground, then you will block the Shatter or the Diva Bomb. So now that we're done with the barrier, we will go over her secondary fire, Halt. So every time you're about to pull somebody, you want to let your teammate know that this is what you're looking for. Because if you have a Hanzo, Widowmaker or Roadhog, it is very easy for them to follow up on your pull. So every time you're about to do it, let your teammate know, like that.
Zen's a frag right now, man.
Pulling after the shield.
Oh, it's just him.
Follow my pull. Hog left. Easy.
Nice. Beautiful.
Follow my pull right. Easy.
I can heal myself.
Right side, pulling right.
So because I called it, 3 of my teammates are coming to the right side to help me kill that Roadhog. Another thing you can do with Halt is try to pull somebody that is hiding behind Reinhardt's shield above it, like that. And if you call it, you could get a follow-up by Roadhog or a sniper. If you do it too late, you will not pull anything. But if you do it too early, you will pull the Reinhardt too. So you have to find this perfect moment.
Ah shit, I pulled him too.
The next thing about Halt is if you pull somebody, pull him into the air. Do not pull him at ground level, because if you do, he will be able to move way earlier than if you pull him into the air. And also, after the pull animation, there's a little slow effect for like half a second. But if you pull somebody into the air, this slow effect will remain until he touches the ground. And also, he is way easier to track on the way down. And also easier for your teammate to follow up on it. Usually with Orisa, you want to hold the high ground. So when the enemy team is coming at you, you want to pull their tanks off the high ground to keep the high ground advantage and leave their other teammates without their tanks protection.
He's looking for it.
Since you're usually going to hold the high ground, you want to make sure that their dive tank cannot reach your team. So let's say Wrecking Ball is about to pile driver you, you can still pull him during his animation to pull him off the high ground. Same thing with Winston's Leap or Diva's Booster, but you want to make sure that Diva doesn't eat your Halt.
Short tracer, recall. Oh.
How did she?
Fuck off, bitch!
Alright, here's the last step about the pull. You guys probably remember when I said there are 2 ways to block a Shatter. Well, here's the second one. If the enemy Rein didn't fall for your second barrier trick, you have one last chance to block his Shatter, and it's to pull him behind your new barrier. And to do so, you will have to shoot your Halt almost a second before he's crossing the barrier. And once he's about to cross it, you pull him, even slightly before he's about to cross it. Alright, so now her last ability, Fortify. Something you don't want to do is activate it when you're already low, because this is not a healing ability, this is a damage reduction ability. You want to use it when you predict that you're about to take a lot of damage and reduce it by 50%. So let's say the enemy team just broke your barrier and your next one is on like 4 to 5 seconds cooldown. That's when you want to use your Fortify, because you know that you're about to take a lot of damage. Another tip about the Fortify is if Reinhardt is trying to charge at your team, you won't stop him. Activate your Fortify and jump in front of him. You will completely stop him and you will not take any damage. Because let's say one of your teammates is standing behind you and is not looking at the Reinhardt, if you decide to avoid the charge, he can easily get pinned and die. It's the same thing from inside of Grafton Surge. If your Zenyatta is activating his Transcendence, the only thing a Reinhardt can do is charge to get a kill, because the swing does not deal enough damage. So you want to activate your Fortify, step out of the Grafton Surge and stop him.
I'm here.
Alright, one last little thing about Fortify is that you can activate it at the same time than throwing a barrier and at the same time than dropping your Supercharger. There are not a lot of things to say about Orisa's Prime Fire, but I'll still cover it. So the first thing you probably already know is that Orisa is not a hit scan character, it's a projectile. So if you want to hit somebody, you cannot shoot straight at him like if you were playing Soldier. In order to hit somebody with Orisa, you need to shoot a little bit in front of him. Also, she does a lot of damage, so you should definitely learn how to aim with her. If you get booped by like Pharah, Lucio or Brigitte while you are shooting, you will travel way less distance than if you are not shooting. So if let's say Lucio is looking for a boop on you, just keep shooting at him. He might not be able to get you off the map. Alright, now let's talk about her ultimate, the Supercharger. You don't want to drop it in the open with no protection. You want to wait until you have a barrier ready, so that way it doesn't get instantly destroyed. You can also cancel the barrier's animation with your ultimate like that. You can do the same thing with your Halt. Orisa's ultimate is not as game changing as a Grafton Surge or no Shatter. If one of your teammates is already down, I would suggest not using it, because it will probably not bring back the fight. You want to use it at the start of the fight when it's still a 6v6. This will give a significant advantage to your team. When you use it, you want to make sure that most of your teammates get it, otherwise it will not be very useful. Something you can do when fighting an Orisa is activate your Fortify as soon as you get pulled by her ult. You will keep the momentum and be able to reach high grounds. Every tank character has a big body, and because of that you can easily butt block the enemy team and not let them get into the point when they need it, just like that.
Blocking him. Oh, what the fucking god. Go on right. Watch the right and stay 3 on it.
Okay, watch the right. Oh, nice.
What the body block?
Alright, I think I said pretty much everything about Orisa. I didn't want to cover individual matchups because otherwise the video would have been way too long, and most of the time you're gonna be keeping their tank away from your team. So that's why I mostly covered tank matchups. I wouldn't suggest trying to learn everything you saw in that video at once. I would instead tell you to concentrate on one ability at a time. So let's say try to master the barrier. Once you got it, go to the Halt, then Fortify, and then Supercharger. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section. I'm answering every single comment. Or if you prefer, you can ask me directly on my stream. I'm streaming here pretty much every night from Sunday to Thursday, usually at 11 PM Eastern Time. And I will leave my Twitter in the description. So, hope to see you guys next time. Ciao.